Nobody told you this, but the reason some people retire 4 to 5 while others work until they die has nothing to do with talent, luck, or even hard work. It has everything to do with a set of money rules that rich families quietly pass down to their kids, rules that nobody teaches in school and nobody posts on social media. Stay right here, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to hand you those exact rules. And if you are in your 20s or you know someone who is, this might be the most important video you ever watch. Let me paint you a picture. 2 guys graduate college the same year. Same state school. Same degree. Same starting salary, about $52,000 a year. We will call them Marcus and Tyler. Marcus does what everybody tells him to do. Gets a nice apartment. Buys a reliable car with monthly payments. Opens a credit card for the points. Tells himself he will start saving when things slow down a little. Tyler does something different. Tyler learned a few rules. Not from school. Not from the internet. From his uncle, a guy who built a $3 million net worth driving a used Toyota and working a regular 9 to 5. Fast forward 15 years. Marcus is stressed, behind on savings, and trapped in a job he does not love because he cannot afford to leave it. Tyler has investment accounts worth over $500,000. He works because he wants to, not because he has to. Same starting point. Completely different finish. So what did Tyler know that Marcus did not? That is exactly what we are about to break down. 3 money rules are real ones. The ones rich families actually use. And by the end of this video, you are going to see money in a completely different way. Let us get into it. Rule number 1 is called pay yourself first. And I know you have probably heard that phrase before. But I promise you, most people do not actually know what it means. They think it means save some money after you pay your bills. That is not what it means. Here is what it actually means. The moment your paycheck hits your account, before you pay rent, before you buy groceries, before you do anything, a set amount automatically moves into an investment account. It is gone before you even see it, before your brain can find something to spend it on. Rich families do not rely on willpower to save money. They remove the choice entirely. Think about it this way. If someone asked you to live on $500 less a month, that sounds painful. But if your paycheck was just $500 smaller from day one, you would adjust. You would figure it out. You always do. Here's where this gets wild. If you are 22 years old and you automate just $200 a month into a simple S&P 500 index fund, and you never increase that amount, never touch it, just leave it alone, by the time you are 62, you will have over $1.2 million. $200 a month. That is $6.60 a day. Less than a Starbucks drink and a breakfast sandwich. $1.2 million. Not because you are a genius investor. Not because you timed the market. Because you started early and you stayed consistent. But here's a part nobody talks about, and this is important. So pay attention. Most 22-year-olds never start because they are waiting to have more money first. And that wait costs them everything. Every single year you delay starting costs you more than just that year. It costs you every year of compounding that follows. Miss the first 10 years and you do not just lose 10 years of growth. You potentially lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in future gains that you can never recover. The rule is simple. Pay yourself first. Automate it. Forget it. Let time do the heavy lifting. Here is a number that should stop you cold. The average American between the ages of 25 and 34 has a net worth of around $14,000. Meanwhile, the average millionaire started building wealth before the age of 30. The difference is not income. Research consistently shows that most millionaires never earned a 6-figure salary in their working years. The difference is when they started and the habits they built early. So if you are watching this and you are young, I need you to understand something. You have the one resource that money literally cannot buy. You have time. And right now, you are either using it or losing it. Okay, rule number 2. And this one is going to change the way you look at every single dollar you spend. Rich families teach their kids to see the world in 2 categories. Things that make you money and things that cost you money. Assets and liabilities. Robert Kiyosaki wrote about this in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, one of the best-selling personal finance books of all time. And the idea sounds simple, but almost nobody actually applies it. An asset puts money into your pocket. A stock that pays dividends. A rental property that collects rent. A business that runs without you. An asset works while you sleep. A liability takes money out of your pocket. A car payment. An expensive lease. a credit card balance, a boat. A liability costs you every single month whether you use it or not. Now here's the trap that most young Americans fall into, and I say Americans specifically because our culture is obsessed with this. We are taught to perform wealth before we actually have it. New car, nice apartment in the trendy neighborhood, designer clothes, bottle service, vacations on credit. And none of it builds anything. All of it drains resources that could have been working for you. Let me give you a real example. The average new car payment in the United States right now is around $735 a month. And the moment you drive that car off the lot, it loses roughly 20% of its value. You are paying $735 a month for something that is actively losing value. Now imagine instead you bought a used car for cash or a reliable older model with a much smaller payment, and you invested the difference. Even $400 a month invested over 10 years at an average market return becomes close to $80,000. That is not a vacation fund. That is a down payment on a rental property. That is a beginning of real, lasting wealth. Rich families teach their kids to delay the performance of wealth so they can actually build it. They drive modest cars in their 20s and 30s. They live below their means. And then quietly, without anyone noticing, they accumulate real assets. And by the time they start living large, they can actually afford to. The question you need to ask before every major financial decision is this. Is this an asset or a liability? Is this putting money in my pocket or taking it out? That one question practiced consistently will make you richer than any investment strategy ever could. Now, before I get to rule number 3, which I honestly think is the most powerful of the 3 and the one that almost nobody ever talks about, I want to ask you something. Have you ever noticed that some people just seem to have a completely different relationship with money? Like they never stress about it. They talk about it differently. They make decisions differently. They are not smarter. They are not luckier. But something is just different. That something has a name. And it is what rule number 3 is all about. Stick with me. Rule number 3 is this. Your financial knowledge compounds just like your money does. Here is what that means. Most people treat financial education like a one-time event. They read one book. They watch a couple of videos. They feel inspired for a week and then go back to their old habits. That is not how rich families approach it. Rich families build a culture of ongoing financial learning. Kids grow up hearing conversations about investing at the dinner table. They learn what a Roth IRA is before they learn how to drive. They understand how taxes work, how to read a basic financial statement, and how compound interest functions. They are fluent in the language of money before the game even starts. And here's why that matters so much. Financial knowledge does not just give you information. It changes the way your brain processes decisions. Once you genuinely understand how compound interest works not just intellectually but emotionally, in your gut you literally start to see spending differently. A $60 dinner out is not just $60 anymore. It is $60 that could have been $600 in 10 years. You start doing that math automatically, and your behavior shifts without you even trying. This is why rich families do not just give their kids money. They give their kids financial literacy, because money without knowledge disappears. Just look at lottery winners. Studies show that a large percentage of lottery winners end up broke within a few years. Not because they are bad people, because they had money without the education to manage it. But financial literacy with even modest income, that builds dynasties. So what does this look like practically if you are a 22-year-old in America with a normal job and a tight budget? It looks like 30 minutes a day. That is it. 30 minutes of reading, listening, or watching content about personal finance, investing, or entrepreneurship. 30 minutes every single day. In 1 year, you will know more about money than 90% of the adults around you. In 5 years, you will think and make decisions like someone in a completely different financial category. Books like The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Podcasts like Planet Money or Choose FI. Channels exactly like this one. Free resources everywhere, available at any time, on the device already in your pocket. The wealthy do not have a secret vault of hidden financial knowledge. They just started learning earlier and never stopped. That is it. That is the whole secret. I want to tell you about a woman named Jasmine. She grew up in a working-class family in Atlanta. Single mom, 2 jobs, not much left over at the end of the month. At 22, Jasmine got her first real job at a logistics company, $42,000 a year. She did not have a rich uncle. She did not have family money. What she had was a library card and a YouTube algorithm that started showing her personal finance content. She spent a year just learning, watched videos, read books, listened to podcasts during her commute. She opened a Roth IRA with $50 her first month, then $100, then $150 as she got smarter about her budget and cut things she did not actually care about. By 30, she had $40,000 invested. By 35, her accounts crossed six figures. She also bought a duplex. She lives in one unit, rents the other, and the rent covers most of her mortgage. Jasmine is not rich yet, but she is on a trajectory that most Americans will never reach. And it started with a library card and 30 minutes a day. She did not come from money. She learned money, and that changed everything. Real quick, if this video is hitting different for you, if something is clicking that has never clicked before, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It tells me this is a kind of content worth making more of, and it helps other people who need this find it. I appreciate you. Now let us talk about what your life actually looks like if you apply these 3 rules starting today. You have been investing consistently since 22. Nothing crazy. Just automatic, boring, consistent contributions. You have a portfolio worth somewhere between $150,000 and $250,000 depending on the market. You have no credit card debt. You drive a paid-off car. You live in a place you can genuinely afford. You are not flashy, but you are free. You get laid off from your job. It happens. But instead of panic, instead of the raw, gut-wrenching terror that most people feel when that happens, you feel calm. Because you have an emergency fund. You have assets. You have options. You have time. You take 3 months off. Travel a little. Think about what you actually want to do next. Then you take a new job not because you are desperate, but because you want to, on your terms. That is what financial freedom actually looks like. Not a yacht, not a private jet, not some Instagram fantasy. Just options. Just peace. Just the ability to make decisions from a place of strength instead of fear. That life is not reserved for people born into wealth. It is available to anyone who starts learning the rules early enough and plays a long game consistently. You are watching this video right now. That means you are already ahead of the curve. Now I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking this sounds great, but I am barely making ends meet. I cannot afford to invest $200 a month. I have student loans. I have rent. Life is expensive. And I hear you. I genuinely do. But here's what I want you to consider. You do not have to start with $200. You can start with $25. You can start with $10. The amount matters far less than the habit and the timeline. What you cannot afford is to wait. Because every month you delay is a month of compounding you never get back. And the longer you wait, the harder it gets, not just mathematically, but psychologically. Life gets more complicated. Responsibilities pile up. Excuses multiply. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time is literally right now. Open a Roth IRA today. Contribute $5 if that is all you have. Just start. Build the habit. Make it real. The amount will grow as your income grows, but only if the account already exists and the habit is already built. Here is the thing nobody tells you about getting older. Time passes whether you do something with it or not. At 22, age 65 feels like a different lifetime. It feels so far away that it barely registers as real. And that distance, that psychological distance, is exactly why most people never start. It all feels abstract, theoretical, something to deal with later. But later always comes. And when it does, you will either look back at your 20s as a decade you planted seeds that grew into a forest, or the decade you spent money on things you cannot even remember buying. The rules are simple. Pay yourself first. Build assets, not liabilities. Never stop learning. You do not have to be perfect. You do not have to have it all figured out. You just have to start. One account, one habit, 1 month at a time. Marcus and Tyler started the same. The only difference was the rules Tyler knew. Now you know them too. What you do next, that part is up to you. If this video gave you even one idea that could change your financial future, subscribe to this channel right now. Every week, we break down real money strategies in plain English, no jargon, no fluff, no get-rich-quick nonsense. Just the stuff that actually works. And share this with someone you care about. A friend, a younger sibling, Someone who needs to hear this before it is too late. The rules exist. Now you know them. Go use them. See you in the next one.